when time stopped for everyone except me. I woke up that morning, feeling like something was off. It wasn't a usual feeling of a bad dream or something strange happening. No, this was different. As soon as I stepped out of bed, I noticed something odd. The silence. It was so quiet, like the world was holding its breath. My room, usually full of the normal sounds of morning, birds chirping, cars driving by, the soft hum of the fridge, was completely still. I paused and listened harder, but nothing. Not a single sound. Confused, I checked the clock. It was frozen at 7 a.m. I shook my head, thinking I was still groggy, and reached for my phone. No notifications. No movement. I unlocked it and saw the screen wasn't changing. Time itself had stopped. The panic hit me fast. I rushed to the window, and that's when I saw it. The whole world was frozen. People were standing still outside, some mid-step, others frozen with cups in their hands. The birds in the sky were frozen mid-flight. It was like someone hit the pause button on everything. I ran out the door, my heart pounding, my breath short. I was the only one moving. I walked up to the man who lived across the street. He was stuck in mid-laugh, his mouth wide open, but no sound came out. I tapped his shoulder, but there was no reaction. Everything was still. Everything except me. I couldn't understand what was happening. How was I the only one who could move? What made me different? I walked through the streets, feeling like an alien in a world that no longer made sense. It felt lonely, eerie. I was the only one in a world that had forgotten how to move forward. I went to the park, hoping to find some explanation. The scene there was just as strange. A mother was frozen pushing a stroller, her face caught in a moment of joy. Kids were frozen mid-play, their laughter silenced. I sat on a bench, trying to think. That's when I noticed something strange. At the edge of the park, near the trees, there was a figure. They were standing perfectly still, just like everyone else, but something about them stood out. It was almost as if they were glowing, just slightly. I walked towards them, my footsteps echoing in the silence. As I approached, the figure turned. For a second, I thought they were moving, but then I realized it was just my imagination. It was a woman, her hair long and flowing, and her face calm, yet there was a sadness in her eyes. She reached out, but not to touch me. No, it was as if she was trying to communicate without speaking. I instinctively reached out too, my hand hovering in the air. And then everything changed. The world around me started to shimmer, like the air was rippling. The woman's face became clearer, her eyes almost glowing. A voice, soft but powerful, filled my mind. Asterisk, you're the chosen one. Asterisk. I stumbled back, confused. Chosen for what? I asked, my voice trembling. Her gaze softened. Asterisk, to see what no one else can. To understand the truth behind time itself. Asterisk, my heart raced as I tried to process her words. What truth? I asked. Why am I the only one who can move? Why is everyone frozen? She sighed, her form starting to fade. Asterisk, because, my child, the fabric of time is broken. A moment, a choice, caused the clock to stop. Only one could remain untouched. One who could understand what must be done next. Asterisk, before I could ask her more, she vanished. The park around me flickered for a second, and I found myself back in my room, as if no time had passed at all. But it wasn't the same. There was a weight to the air now, a feeling of something larger than me at play. Days passed, and I tried to make sense of what happened. The world was still frozen, and I was the only one who could move. It was as if I was in a test. But no matter how many times I went back to the park, the woman didn't return. Then one day, something caught my eye. In the sky, there was a crack, a small, faint line that ran through the blue. It was the kind of crack you'd see in glass, but this was in the sky itself. As I stared at it, I felt an overwhelming pull to it. I had to go. I ran out of my house and towards a crack in the sky. The closer I got, the stronger the pull became, until it was almost unbearable. I felt as though I was walking through the very essence of time itself. When I reached a point where the crack seemed to meet the earth, I looked down. There, in front of me, was a glowing stone. I bent down and touched it, and as soon as my fingers made contact, the world around me shattered. Time, like glass, cracked and flowed again. I blinked, and everything was moving. The birds flew, the cars drove, people started walking again. It was as if nothing had ever happened, but I knew something had changed. I was different. The world had returned. But now I understood the weight of time, how fragile it could be. I had seen the crack, the moment where it all stopped, and I had fixed it. Time would never be the same, and neither would I.